Welcome to the UDP broadcast, a podcast where a group of friends get together and talk about gaming-related subjects in the industry. I'm Luminary, and I'm accompanied today by my co-hosts, Imi, the Eternal Barcode.
Hello.
The Nordic Cajun.
Who will be tonight voiced by Chris Pratt.
No.
And Crit Chicken, who will not be voiced by Chris Pratt.
I'll probably be voiced by someone else that's less popular.
Well, we've taken a break, had some things happen, and it seems like the whole world has fallen apart, and we're trying to put it back together again. Topics tonight, going to be talking about Stadia being sunset in January, I believe. We're going to be talking about Nintndona-nigans and an interesting game of Karuta.
No. That's horny on me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Sit back, enjoy the show, and participate in chat. You can find our broadcasts at anchor.fm. I'm dual streaming to YouTube if you prefer that. So, yeah, giving it a shot. Brand new fiber. It's like, let's see what we can do. And I haven't dropped anything. It's been rather nice. So, let's go ahead and get started here. So, let's talk about Stadia. There's a lot to unpack there, and it's going to be a major subject here. We'll cover. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not hugely familiar with it. Was that supposed to be like their combatant to like Steam and Epic Games?
No,
their goal with that?
Not quite. So there has been a big push for a very long time, like even when World of Warcraft was still in beta, to be able to play video games without a console. Right?
Like GameFly or something?
Well, not quite like GameFly. More like there was a service, there was Games on Demand, GOD, there was OnLive. Stadia is now in those ranks. So what it is you have some sort of conduit. In this particular case, it is a controller and a Chromecast. I think one of the fancier new Chromecast homes. And you are able to go and play video games that you purchase or whatever's free, just like you would an Xbox Game Pass. And you would pay for the level of service that you would want. So you could pay for 4K streaming should you choose to, which was kind of neat. So it's kind of like Steam, and like you keep a library of games that you've purchased or have access to. But it's not like Steam, because at the end of the day with Steam, you're buying access to video games to download and play, and they manage all the keys in DRM.
It sounds like it would have been a great idea. I mean, a one single controller that you could literally plug into any TV, you go anywhere. That sounds like the dream to me. It's kind of, Switch-esque, since you can just plug it in and sit down and do that, but without the whole Switch component, right?
Yeah.
Is that what my brain's gathering here?
Yeah.
My caveman brain?
Pretty much. You pick up the controller, and your Chromecast immediately starts streaming video games.
It would have been nice if more people actually knew about it.
Well, I mean, they did have a big marketing thing. They were really trying to get first-party titles in there, like the whole thing. It was a really good platform, according to the developers. It was really great to develop for because it's all hosted by Google.
But that seems to be Google's motif. They're like a kid that gets really invested in a project, in a hobby, and then immediately the moment's over, they move on.
There's a graveyard website of all the projects that Google has accumulated and canceled.
I was one of the cats that was actually really excited about Google Eye, that little glasses crap that they were coming up with.
Oh my God. Do you know how many times I saw people joking, like they wanted to say, Google search, goatsy, go.
Yeah.
Or Google search, rule 34, whatever, go. Just screaming at people to make it fucking search that. And then you see in your face, rule 34, or like goatsy right in your eyes. You're like, oh my God, I need to get melon ballers and remove my eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things that drew me in, really.
That
kind of crap.
Google Glass would have been great. It really would have. It would have been, if it didn't look so horrid.
Now Alexa has their own thing.
Yeah, isn't there a company that's literally developing contacts like that?
I think so. We're at a point right now in technology where they're really trying to get it down to what's the least intrusive and more fashionably stable, I think would probably be the best way to talk about it.
Well, the
right?
thing is, my friend's actually losing eyesight. Like he can barely see anything, and he's actually going under for pretty much having like I guess kind of like computerized eyes or whatever.
Oh
Ooh.
wow!
So he's gonna be
Yeah,
Borg.
yeah, pretty much.
That's fucking awesome. He's gonna be a cyborg.
Bionic man, I love it. I'm down.
So I don't know how it's gonna work for him, but if it gives him some kind of you know um, independence, I should say,
Oh,
You-
for
then
sure.
that's good.
We're at a
Hell
point
yeah.
they've got devices they can put in little kids' ears who've never heard before, to where they can suddenly hear again. And
Cochlear ear implants, and you can actually I've seen adults with that as well, and that is the most amazing thing ever to see their all the videos recorded of them like hearing for the first time or
Mhm.
having hearing restored. Just
That's
it's
how
like
you get a
pure dopamine and pure
that,
serotonin.
that's how you get a man like me teared up. Is seeing those little
Yes.
kids put those things on and hearing mama and just give a genuine smile for the first time. I'm like, nah.
Yep.
Or
Or
at least
see
at first they cry because they don't know what's going on, and then they just like kind of like blink a little bit, look around, they hear, and they're like,
yeah,
Like,
and
mama.
you see adults who hear for the very first time, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna bawl my eyes out.
Mhm.
Excuse me. The onion ninjas have started attacking my home again.
Yeah, if
then you give
Kawasaki
them a
had been here.
subscription to
Ninja.
Amazon Music. Here, enjoy.
Yeah,
And it, go ahead.
all that deck is really cool. I've actually looked into a lot of it because I'm kind of sight impaired myself. I'm like extremely nearsighted, but what can you do
So
about it?
I'm the same way. I've considered LASIK for years. I just haven't bit the bullet and said, "Let's do this thing." I'm got other important things going on,
I guess
but
you don't want to be blindsided by the price.
that's yeah.
God damn. That was
Hey, let's
good.
see. We made it 8 minutes in before when I got hit by one. There we go. New record.
Yeah. So
I'm the
Hell
smooth
yes.
criminal.
so
God damn it.
so Stadia.
Oh my god.
The reason why I picked Stadia this time around, even though like, oh no, Stadia's shutting down, boo-hoo, it was interesting in the sense of like what was it? Was it in July or was it February? I had the date around here somewhere. They had announced.
July.
Was it July?
As
Yeah.
of last July, Google indicated they would not be shutting down services.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, they just recently were like, oh no, we're not gonna shut it down. It's like, but the
Jake,
rumors say otherwise. Oh
let-
no.
they go,
No.
JK guys. Just kidding. We're gonna give y'all money back.
And what made it worse? Like it's almost like the worst April Fool's Day joke, but it wasn't really a joke. That
Yeah.
they didn't tell the developers. It was they released it on Twitter and then put up their public statement regarding Stadia, and all the developers like, what?
Imagine waking up to go to work and all of a sudden you read, "Oh, I don't have a job anymore."
Oh, that reminds me of something. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. It revolved around the people that used to make those computer things. Hold on.
This computer things.
Osmongold covered it.
While she's looking it up, back to my original comment about the contact stuff. For the digital, I'm stuck in my glass thing for some reason.
Go for it.
I imagine when they get that perfected, the stuff that we saw in like Avengers with Tony moving his hands around and moving stuff and creating things with his hands, you could do that with the contacts and it do remotely to your computer. That would be so much fun for somebody like any of us.
Well, they have haptic reactive gloves or haptic gloves that you could wear to get some sort of tactile sensation when you do collide with something in 3D space. So it's perfectly doable. So you could grab axes, feel vibrations in your fingertips and whatever else to do that type of thing. I know.
I've got a feeling if we don't have some kind of, thing from the other side of the world blow up, in the next 10 years, the gaming and creation industry is going to just explode with this new kind of stuff, man. It's
Okay,
gonna
I
be
found the
awesome.
video.
Okay.
So it was about artesian builds or whatever.
Oh, those
Apparent-
guys.
Yeah, they moved into a new building, and then they shut down.
Oh,
Do you
Yeah,
know?
literally, they're like 200 or
Hey,
20
hey
$20 million
guys.
dollars in debt, and they still owe computers to people.
Are you
that
familiar with that story, Nordic?
Not even in the slightest, but I can just imagine them walking in like, "Hey guys, check out this glorious building we just bought.
So
Now we're
our,
closing shop. Bye."
so Artesian Builds was interesting. They actually had a sponsor by Intel, and they were actually doing promotions and doing affiliate programs with other streamers to win a custom artesian computer setup, right? And they were building it right there on stream and everything and whatnot. And when they pull a name out of the hat, was he the CEO, Crit? I can't remember.
Hold on.
He was some front man.
I have to look it up.
Nah, well, either way, he was the voice. The dude with the screwdriver was building the machines, right? And he was like, "Oh, okay, it was some rando streamer, and let's see, let's take a look at your stats because you have to qualify. And oh, yeah, you don't have enough concurrent viewers. Well, maybe we can do it a different way." And then like just kind of like low key dressing them down on why they're not going to get this badass machine that could totally change their streaming career depending on what they're running on, right?
Like hanging a proverbial carrot they're never going to get situation.
Pretty much. Either way, they did this throughout this entire stream. It blew up. People tore those people down. Intel got wind, dropped their sponsorship, and the dude had to like he gave out an apology outright. And he was just like, "I'm so sorry," so forth and so on. And then there was like a written one where it was kind of like brushed out of the way that rules are rules. It was a giant mess. So it doesn't surprise me like where they moved to a new office building and then shut down.
Well, people listening around the world, even in 10 years in the future, somebody pulls up this podcast and hears this. Let these words ring true now and forever in history. Don't be a dick.
Nope.
You do that, and things will go well for all parties involved. The moment you become a dick, it becomes hard for everybody.
Especially on the internet. You start helicoptering around, people are going to come out and they're going to bat you down, that's for sure.
And the thing about artesian builds, you can actually see the decay or the decline of it. In one of their tweets back in March, it said, "We are sad to announce that effective now, we are freezing, suspending all activities. Ongoing is analysis by outside counsel for reorg to ensure fair treatment of clients, creditors, and employees. We expect more info by month's end. We are open to assistance investment." And
in other words, help.
and then June 17th, notice artesian builds inventory bankruptcy auction for interested buyers, qualified bidders. Please review the attached notice. So that's it. They didn't even say anything on their Twitter aside from those two things.
No, that's the thing you don't touch with a 20-foot pole. Nope.
Nope. There's a lot of things like that has happened. Like we should start seeing a flood of GPUs coming back into the market because crypto or Ethereum in particular, I think, has moved to a different type of proof that's not GPU intensive.
Yeah, they're getting off of proof of work and proof of something result. Like you want to say result, but it's not that. It's supposedly, allegedly going to be less CPU intensive, which would be nice in theory.
Well, it's a difference between calculating math and then just saying, "Hey, I purchased this," and the other dude goes, "Okay," and then like it's just there as opposed to crunching those numbers. It's provided to the blockchain, and that's it. Like there's no figuring out legitness. It's still recorded in the Grand Ledger, but there's no doing the math for crunching all of those numbers and moving it around, which is interesting. So, and that means all of the mining companies that mined Ethereum and Ethereum-like coins are shutting down or finding a different way to make money because there's no longer money in Ethereum when it comes to mining.
And apparently there's no more money in Stadia.
Oh yeah, you know what's interesting about this topic is like, hey, Stadia shutting down, and nobody gives a fuck, and we started talking about artesian builds.
We chased all the white rabbits down here in Wonderland.
Pretty much.
All of them.
I'm like, wait, let me just corral these bunnies back. I'm like, oh no.
Cajun, did you know Stadia shutting down? Oh no. Anyway.
You don't say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Stadia's having their issue. Well, artesian builds had more,
Shit.
Well,
involved.
at
And
the
then still build.
well, at the user level, what makes this interesting is the fact that, like, okay, so let's just remove the word Stadia and replace it with Steam. I know that the people in this chat have at least, at a minimum, $100 invested in Steam.
Yeah, about that $100.
At least.
Yeah, a little bit more than that. But
Yeah.
the funny thing is, I have money invested in Steam, to the point that I have those people that are trying to scam me out of my account.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I get
But
that too all the time.
Yeah, here's the fun game. Here's a fun game. Go into your library and see how many letters you can get down before it hits 100. I'll wait.
No, but here's the kicker. I want to play Steam more. I really do. I want to play Worms. I want to play a lot of games. However,
You play Worms too?
yes, I love the game. Et tu, Brute? Pah! I love
Like
it.
we just got when it was on sale, we got Worms Armageddon. That's the one I grew up on the PlayStation West 1, I believe. And it is next to Pokemon is now literally my little boy's favorite game. He'll run in the house from school like, "Dad, can we go play Worms?"
We should do a podcast, our little podcast stuff or whatever during a match of Worms.
Oh
See,
no.
we'll just break.
No, I'm
There's
looking.
4 of us. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm
Come on
looking
now.
for more opportunities to do more gaming stuff. So, like, you
Mhm.
set it down. Like, we've already got Space Dwarfs, which reminds me, I still need to add you to Steam so I can get you a copy.
Okay.
So,
Diggy diggy hole.
but so anyway, the point about this is like we all have at least that much invested in Steam, right? Whether it's $100, $1,000, $5, doesn't matter. Okay. What if Steam releases tomorrow through Twitter and says, "Hey, by the way, we're shutting down. The last time you'll be able to access your games is January 18th."
Question:
Yes.
what if they refunded all that shit?
Oh, they're not gonna refund that. That money's long gone. They inducted Steam with the release of Half-Life 2. Like,
I mean,
Did you enjoy
I
your
mean,
time on Steam? Well, there you go. You paid for the experience.
I mean, to be fair, for states, I'm calling it Stadia now. The Google thing, they're saying they're refunding. They're
it's
refunding
so
everything.
unimportant. We can't even get the name right. Okay, go ahead.
They. I read that part. They said they're refunding. They're refunding everybody who's bought into it.
Right. And I think that they're doing I don't know what there's a limit on that or what they're doing with that other than any hardware bought through, I guess, the Google store, because they shut down the Stadia store where they were allowing you to purchase all of the things, right? But I'm not exactly sure how they're actually going to do software licenses and things like that because that's a lot of money. Like, even though we're kind of making light that
Well,
nobody gives a shit about Stadia, there are people who were in it.
I got you, Lemmy. It says all hardware purchased through the Google Store will be refunded, and all the games and add-on content purchased from the Studio Store will be refunded. Expect those refunds to be completed by mid-January.
Oh, wow.
So if they're offering they're offering a full-on refund.
I think that's Google pretty much dumping down a huge lump of money on the Stadia team and going, well, sorry.
I
Well, the
guess.
worst part was
We
is there was a
tried,
couple
guys.
companies that were about to release a new game. Hyper Gunsport, which was being released by Microsoft Games, they were ready to release it on Stadia in November. Now it's like, oh,
How about that?
they don't have that now. Yeah, like it's very much about that, and now
They
how
can
they're
take it to they can take it to Steam.
Okay, they
well,
Steam or
the problem is
or
Stadia had the best monetization scheme possible for developers, where developers saw the largest cut. And Steam, yes, it's good for giving money to developers. It's just not nearly as good as Stadia was. So now this company was banking on being able to release their game on Stadia and recoup their costs. But now, since Stadia is shutting down, they can't. So for them, it's going to be a challenge, and they're not going to be the only ones. There's going to be a lot of people who are stuck in this boat where they've invested so much time and effort into developing a game for Stadia with the intent of recouping those costs, and now it's like, oh, well, that income is now gone. Plus, nowhere in this statement from Google does it say what's going to happen to the people who have invested. Are they going, like, are the companies that have spent all this money to try and develop a game on the Stadia platform going to lose money, or are they going to keep their money? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a huge issue for a lot of independent and small game industry or game studios, which may have a detrimental effect in the long run.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once bitten, twice shy situation.
Well, that, and how many people are going to lose their jobs based on the fact that Stadia is shutting down because the company they worked for was banking on Stadia being able to provide steady income to recoup those development costs.
Far too many, to be honest. That's just
Yeah.
You can't even put a number on it, but there's a lot of mouths that are going to need some feeding after that.
Yep. It's shitty all around.
It is. They handled it the worst possible way.
They handled it the Google way, which is just not mention what they're doing and shut off the service.
Yep, they
You
did.
like-
Yeah, they pulled in a rug pull artesian.
Ta-da!
They supported Stadia like EA supports a video game. Oh my god, they pulled an EA. They released it and then said, fuck off.
Wow.
I mean, technically, it wasn't even released; it was still in development.
Oh,
It's kind of
no.
like World of Warcraft with releasing Wrath of the Lich King, and they're like, guess what? 1 month later, you get Dragonflight. What?
Rip.
Well, there's some good news out of this. I think what was it? It was Ubisoft and IO Interactive are working to try to get your saves from their games. I think in particular it was Assassin's Creed and some other game that they mentioned. And for anyone that has a PC port of it, you could then play it on PC for whatever reason that may be. And I think if you have it on Steam, it'll just start cloud saving, which would be nice. But the details on that really haven't been released, other than they're working for a way to allow players who have invested time in their games on that platform to continue to play where they left off, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, considering who the publishers and developers are that are doing it. But yeah, no, it's definitely shitty all the way around. There are people who became instantly unemployed due to a tweet, and the revenue stream is cut. And other folks who have projects that are going out and we're just notified, like we're years into this, and what?
– Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
Good
their official
luck.
statement.
Yeah, screw you, nobody likes you. It's like, oh, thanks, I guess.
Your platform is bad and you should feel bad.
Indeed. So to all the developers out there that are going to lose money on this, we feel for you. We do.
Stay strong. Don't let it break you.
Pretty much.
Come back harder.
Harder, better.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but that'll pretty much wrap that up. Like we I still figured this is how it was going to go because again, nobody really cares about Stadia except for the people who are invested in it. We do need to call out that it was a shitty move, and the people affected are going to have their lives changed because there's no more money on it. This is on top of consumers. I mean, they get all their money back, but all the time that they've invested in that platform is now gone. And Google doesn't have to give the money back.
No, and that's probably the worst part is, you know,
So-
yeah, that you're going to get some money back, but it's those developers and those people who are banking on being able to, you know, make the money back off of that investment. Because video game development, as we know, is not a cheap thing to do. It's very expensive
And time consuming.
and time consuming. Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of people affected by this negatively. It really, really sucks for those people.
Mm-hmm.
Especially coming out of a pandemic.
Yep.
Mhm.
Indeed. Well, it is what it is. But now it's time for Nintndona-nigans.
Yay!
There's only so much I
Let's
can harp
go.
on Stadia. So Nintndona-nigans. So a lot of things have happened with Nintendo. We're just going to go down the list. They finalized buying a studio called Dynamo Pictures. And they had previously provided animation work for titles for like Persona 5, Final Fantasy 13-2. Is that 13-2?
Yep.
And Metroid Other M. And I believe that was the throwback to the old school 2D platformer with 2.5D elements, so everything would shift. So they've definitely got some skill. And,
You had me at Persona 5 because the animation in that game is gorgeous.
well, Persona is an Altus, an Altus game, I believe. Is it Altus or Atlas?
I think so.
Yeah, Altus. So, but what makes this interesting is that now that they've bought into this, is they can now offload into doing something like what Disney did with Pixar. Mind you, Pixar was already an animation studio. They were already doing their thing, and they were just bought up into the Disney company.
Yeah.
But now they can do renders and movies of first-party Nintendo characters. Mario, Peach, Bowser, and things of that nature, right? Metro, Samus. I would say Metroid.
So it's kind of like the movie with Ron Jeremy as Mario, right?
Oh no, that's a man we do not need to mention.
I
Holy
mean,
shit.
if you look up Ron Jeremy, you could see him in a Mario costume. It's right there, dude.
No, we're not looking
not,
up Ron
not,
Jeremy.
no.
Nope.
Where's the princess? Wrong tower.
Slide down my flagpole.
I'm sorry.
Oh man.
Too
God
soon.
damn.
So now they're being bought up. They plan on using them for things like offload. I can't speak today. Getting motion capture work done, and of course doing the first party Nintendo movies, which would be really nice. I'd like to see good quality video game movies, like Cajun was talking about. I don't know if this was done by Dynamo Pictures. I have to do more research into it. I didn't have enough time. I completely forgot that movie was coming out. But Cajun, you did experience the Super Mario trailer. Tell us about that.
I did. It's actually that studio is actually Illumination, the ones that do the Minion movies.
Ah.
They're the ones in charge of the Mario movie, and on a visual standpoint, the trailer was gorgeous. It was an absolutely stunning trailer from the moment you see the Doom ship to when Bowser makes his grand entrance to everything. Like it's a very pretty. It's going to be a great, gorgeous movie. The biggest crit, no pun intended, that they have about the entire movie is one of the voice actors.
Ah, I know. The main one, right? Mhm.
Yeah, because Bowser came out, and like I said, if you were here before the show started, we had the whole internet go horny on Maine for Bowser. Like, it was just full
Well,
blown.
it's because it's Chris Pratt, right?
No, Jack Black
Oh,
for
Jack
Bowser,
Black. Oh no,
and it fits Bowser perfectly.
that's
like-
even worse.
Like it looks good. I'm gonna after I finish the spiel, I'm gonna put a picture of the smirk, and you'll see why all these people are going horny for Bowser. The little penguin you see, perfect voiceover. Toad could not have picked a better person. Even the few seconds you heard Luigi, it was phenomenal. And then you get to Mario. I see both sides of the argument because a couple of people in here could assume, maybe all of you, the only Mario movie we've ever had was that 1993 atrocity with the shrunk head Goombas and Yoshis.
Yeah.
Hey, that is an amazing piece of cinematography. Don't you dare call
Yeah,
that
but
a
it
piece of
was
shit.
cringe.
It was trash,
Look.
but we loved it. We love it.
Cringe is amazing.
We loved it for the time. It was the only Mario movie we ever got, but let's face facts where facts are. We've been needing a new Mario movie for a long ass time.
Speaking of horny on Maine for Bowser, they actually started to resurface with Bowsette.
That's not surprising. That I've already seen pictures of freaking Jack Black as Bowsette, so it's gonna happen for a long time here. But here's the thing, and my friend, I was playing League before before the podcast started. A whole generation after us grew up with Mario, and he sounded one certain way. He sounded like that goofy Italian plumber, thick, over accentuated, very stereotypical Mamma Mia situation. And that's what people know Mario to sound like. And then you hear Star Lord's voice come out of his mouth. So I can see why they're aggravated, especially when you go listen to the French trailer and hear Mario's voice. A lot of people are going to probably want to go watch it in French because it sounds just like Mario, and it's crazy.
That's
And I raised the question. Here's a question. I want to see you guys what y'all's thoughts are. When they released the trailer for the Sonic movie, and then we had that nightmare Sonic, the beady eye, crazy, trying to be too real looking Sonic.
Oh,
The
when they
inter-
had to remake it because nobody liked it?
because the internet was up in arms about how bad that Sonic was. The studio listened and flipped it around and made Sonic the way he was supposed to look, and the movie did fantastic. Now, the movie's going to do good, no matter what. Because you have our generation who's looking forward to seeing a new Mario movie. We have kids who are looking forward to seeing a new Mario movie. It's that middle generation that's going to have the issue because of Chris Pratt. And do you think that generation will get up in arms enough?
Do you think?
to dub it over. Yeah.
See, none of you have suffered Mario shit until you have to have suffered the Mario live action TV show from the 90s.
Boy,
Yep.
talk about a national treasure. You
Swing
stop
your
your
arms
dirty
from
mouth.
side to
I
side.
decide.
That was the greatest amount of cringe I've ever seen, and it was beautiful cringe.
Yes, it was
That's
glorious.
That's when you throw up your
Loved it.
hands and say, "It's not you, it's a me."
It's a me.
Super
It's not a
Mario.
you.
I was in it for that terrible Zelda cartoon.
Same.
Oh no.
That
Oh
was the
yes, I remember that.
excuse me, princess.
Oh
Oh
God!
Christ.
It might as well been done by CDI in their projects. So, well, moving on from this. So they've got a movie studio. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming out of there because Nintendo tries to produce quality with their IP and they protect it like
But
a rabid badger.
now,
Right?
what's funny is, if they do have this studio and it takes off, they do a great job. We're gonna take what we saw in the Brawl universe on the Switch and the Wii and all that, and we're gonna have an actual Nintendo universe cinematic, and it's gonna be great until Disney buys them out.
That'd be
And
interesting.
then you're gonna have Mario going up against freaking Yoda.
And then you're gonna randomly see a bloody Winnie the Pooh enter the battle.
Oh no.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait to watch that movie. By the way, that's gonna be such garbage. Oh my god, I can't
That's
wait.
gonna be perfect.
Like
Well-
horror movie Winnie the Pooh. Yes,
Well,
please.
That's what happens when it goes into public domain, right? So
Mhm.
let's move on to one of Imy's favorite subjects, union busting.
Uh-oh.
Oh
Oh.
yes, yeah. Let me go scream at people horribly for being stupid as fuck.
Me.
Oh, god damn it, Nintendo. More Nintendo-nigans. So what happened was, if you're not aware, a little while ago there was an anonymous complaint made to the U.S. National Labor Board about unfair labor practices being done by Nintendo. And recently, I think it was within the last couple weeks, the woman behind that complaint has stepped forward to say, hey, this was me, and this is what the fuck happened. And what has transpired is abject stupidity on Nintendo's part. So they employ a lot of contractors for QA or quality assurance testing. And for those of you who don't know, there has been a lot of movement towards getting unionization within the QA departments within various game companies, because quality assurance is something that is ignored a lot of the time. It's forgotten and nobody really pays attention to it, which is really shitty, because quality assurance is what makes it so you don't clip through a fucking wall, fall through the floors or whatever.
Wee.
Like, quality assurance is necessary. Without them, you don't have a functioning game. It's just it won't exist. It'll be an EA game, and it'll be terrible. So
Yeah, it's their job to literally break the game so they can fix it.
exactly, and people like to sit there and say like, "Oh, hey, you know your quality assurance, you must play video games all day." Well, it's like, yes, but
Define play.
like QA is everything from running into the same wall 1,000 different ways to trying to do different combinations of ways to break the game, documenting them, and then sending them back to the proper department to go get fixed. And this woman, Mackenzie Clifton, she filed this labor complaint about what happened to her, which was she had asked during an open house Q&A session with the president of Nintendo America what Nintendo's view was of all these QA departments across the gaming industry all of a sudden, unionizing. And her question was ignored, not answered, and she found out later from a supervisor at her contracting firm where she worked, because she was contracted by this company called Aston Carter to go work for Nintendo. And a supervisor from Aston Carter told her that her question was a downer, and suggesting maybe she shouldn't have asked that question. Well, about a month after her question was posed, she was terminated, which is absolutely awful. And that is in line with Nintendo's view of unions are awful. We never want to have them. So she's filed an unfair labor practice complaint against them, which I don't blame her and I fully support, because that sort of shit is unacceptable. People have a right, in Canada and the US and most other countries, to unionize. If employers don't like it, well, too fucking bad. It's very hard to get away with not uh, letting your staff unionize. The easiest way to get them to not unionize is just suck up the fact that they're going to unionize. Like, get over it.
Accept it, baby.
Yeah, so when they terminated Mackenzie, what they did was they went through all her fucking tweets to find something they could nail her on. Well, what they did was they fired her for quote unquote disclosing confidential information. The single tweet they found that they fired her on was a tweet that said, "Oh hey, I think someone deleted all the textures in this game. In this game, which she doesn't mention, everything is red."
Just some
So
background on that. Yeah,
that's the thing. She was intentionally vague. You can't, pin that to any sort of game she's working on. She just said someone deleted all the textures and now the game is red. Like everything was red.
right, that's engine based. So whenever you don't have textures, it's engine.
Well, exactly. And it's not describing the game. It's not saying what she was working on, but they used that tweet alone as the reason to fire her for disclosing quote unquote confidential information. So that's a load of shit. Everybody knows it. Nintendo's going to lose this
Hardcore.
case. Absolutely. And I wish her all the luck and nothing but good vibes. And I hope she gets hired somewhere else that's actually going to appreciate her work.
And enjoy that lawsuit money.
Oh,
yeah, no kidding.
That would be nice.
Nintendo is known for being stupid.
That is very true.
Great first-party games and not enough brains.
So if you're a YouTuber and you've created YouTube content, for a fact, and especially if you work with Nintendo products like Pokemon, for a fact that if you have even one frame out of a 60 frame per second, video, they will flag that one frame as a content ID claim so that they get all your monetization money for an entire video. You can literally have a picture up for half a second and now they get all your money. They're that insane about protecting their IP to the point where they make it super oppressive, which, based on that, is not surprising that they would sit there and be like, oh, well, this one person's said one thing about the game engine which isn't traceable to any particular game, we're going to fire her on that. It's like, really, guys? Like, just stop being so stupid. Like, lighten up a little bit. Understand that your employees will unionize, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you think about it, if your employees unionize, there's less fucking work to do overall, because now you have one collective agreement to work with, one collective set of, benefits and if you guys do pensions or anything like that to work with, instead of, per employee type bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
All this
they see it as adversarial when they should be seeing it as collaborative, and that they can get away with doing less work and costing themselves less money if they just shut the fuck up and accept the fact that their employees will unionize.
Indeed. So to wrap up this particular subject, I know that towards the end of that Axios article, Mackenzie had made a demand that that she wants a personalized letter of apology from the president Bowser. And Nintendo countered with, how about we let you talk to HR and we give you a neutral letter of recommendation? And the National Labor and Relations Board stepped in and was like, the letter's not necessary. So, but yeah, no, it's a whole thing, and all for asking a question as a vendor and on all hands for an AMA with the company president. This stuff was going to happen. I've seen it happen even where I work, and it can be devastating sometimes. But I mean, it is what it is, right? People have questions, and answers should be provided.
Absolutely.
So, but
keep your receipts.
I did mention Pokemon, and that leads us to The next story.
Yeah.
Hey,
And this will be right up your alley because it's all about Nuzlocke.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Just as a precursor, because not everybody knows what a Nuzlocke is. We've probably seen it. Probably seen people play it. Looks just like Pokemon. But why don't you give us an insight on what Nuzlocke is, Cajun? Just straight to the tie first.
Yep. Nuzlocke is a self-imposed set of rules that creates a more difficult version of an already established Pokemon game. It can range from you playing the normal game itself or playing on a randomized version of the game through little things on the internet that you can use. The objective of the game is you have only one Pokemon per route you can catch throughout the entire game. If you do not catch the first Pokemon you run into on the route, you play the game as normal, except if a Pokemon faints in battle at any point in time, it is considered the Pokemon dying. So you either have to put the Pokemon in the box or release it on site and never be able to use it again. And if you lose all of your Pokemon in one fight, you effectively get game over and lose the game.
Those rules are pretty easy to understand, right? They're all self-imposed. You don't have to do anything to the game you're playing. You just have to follow those rules, right?
Correct.
It's kind of like hardcore World of Warcraft. Level up your character as normal. If you die, you have to delete.
Pretty much.
Well, in episode 31 of Kitten Krista's podcast, they were talking about wanting to do a let's see here, hold on. I'll just read what Ivy wrote here because I can't get my words together. I apologize. So confused. Well, no,
English is hard.
Well, no, I spent yesterday for 3 hours pounding out that large sheet, and I can't remember any of it off the top of my head. Who knew? But
Words are difficult.
Okay. When responding to questions submitted through Patreon, Ellis and Yang recalled a time when they had brought up the idea of Nuzlocke runs to the Pokemon Company. And they thought it would be a fun idea for the Nintendo Minute. I mean, come on, it's just rules, right? And so when they pitched it, the Pokemon Company said that, where was it? Oh, gosh, here, hold on, let me pull up my sheet.
The official Pokemon statement?
Well, yeah, well, not the official one. The one that was alleged by Ellis and Yang, saying that they thought they were going to get fired because they said that they considered it ROMs and hacking and would not be allowed. Right?
Yeah, because back to what Amy said earlier, Nintendo is notorious when it comes to illegal copies of their stuff. Now, there are loopholes. If you own a physical copy of the game, you can get away with emulating it and playing it on the computer. A lot of people still use capture cards just to avoid that even further because they don't want to poke the big bad bear that is Nintendo. But there are, and I mean this quite figuratively, hundreds of different channels out there who play with the ROMs and play the Nuzlocks with randomized Pokemon all the time. I mean, I'm live streaming one right now on YouTube.
Right now?
And not right now. We're doing this, but that's what I'm doing right now. I was shiny hunting, but I decided to do some Nuzlocke action. Here's the thing: Nintendo can be the big bad bear, but sometimes they can also realize a good thing when they see it.
Mhm.
Because if it wasn't for the Nuzlocke community, there wouldn't be as big of a Pokemon draw as there is today in this world.
Oh, yeah.
Because it started on YouTube and it's made lots of people big in Pokemon just because of this little silly set of rules, and they know where their money's printed. They really do.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about this is that the Pokemon Company had actually come out and said, we don't have a problem with Nuzlocke, not at all. And it's not really Nintendo at that point. I think Nintendo's the publisher for Pokemon, but the Pokemon Company are the actual developers. I think that's the relationship.
Yeah, the Pokemon Company owns the IP, and
Game Freak.
Nintendo's just like, hey, we'll have your game on our platform.
But they released a statement saying that we don't have a problem with it. So I'm wondering if that, and this is the speculative part about this whole thing, I'm wondering if them saying this because they were prominent in the Nintendo community as content creators and, hey, have their podcast, of just saying something like that and the internet exploded and went on a headhunt, And the Pokemon Company had to say, "Oh no, we don't have a problem with it," as kind of a peacekeeping item,
Probably
or
so. More of a face keep.
right, or was it all sensationalism by the two podcasters? That's what I'm curious about. What is the actual story here?
That would have to be a breakdown of the podcast. I guess we have to listen to how it actually went down with them. 'Cause just by the notes alone, that's you could go 6 one way, half another than the other.
Yeah, it could have just been a bunch of miscommunication, but just the fact that, you know, the Pokemon Company had to send out like a statement against what was said, saying, hey, we're totally cool with it, within the bounds of the game, kind of leads me to believe that there was a miscommunication. Now, if you're talking about the people who modify it, uh, like as a ROM and modify it so they can completely randomize the game, then yeah, I could see, the Pokemon Company or Nintendo having issues with it because now you're modifying the game. But if you're just using the arbitrary rule sets of like, hey, if it faints, it's out completely, that is within the game it confines itself, and you're not modifying it. So I can see that, the Pokemon Company would have no issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder where the disconnect was, and I wonder if it's because they may have, like those podcast people may have thought that we don't want you to modify the actual game, by editing a ROM or something. That they may have interpreted it as Nintendo doesn't want, or sorry, the Pokemon Company doesn't want Nuzlocke. Maybe.
Oh, if that was the case, there'd be a lot of people out of business on YouTube right now.
Well, exactly, and I've seen a lot of people do Nuzlocke. I've seen a lot of people do it with modified games where they do exactly that, where they, have a randomizer that gets basically modded into the ROM itself, and they go from there. And I mean,
And
really, it's not.
it gets crazy too. They get it to where they randomize where all the Pokemon are in the game. They can
Mhm.
randomize how often you can run into a shiny. They can randomize how difficult the actual freaking AI is to the point where you think you're actually fighting a fucking human on the other side of the game. Not
Well,
looking forward to Radical Red, by the way.
and what's interesting is that Nintendo or Pokemon released something earlier. I think it was this year, basically saying the newer versions that are going to come out are going to have a hardcore or like a super hard mode available, which will be interesting
Ooh,
to see how they do
Souls.
that.
Wait, what happened? I missed what?
Said, "Ooh, Poke Souls."
Yeah, so basically, the Pokemon Company is going to be releasing newer versions potentially with a hard mode or like like a mini Nuzlocke version, whether it be completely randomized as Nuzlocks are. We need to the modded ones that'll be a different thing, but the hardcore mode will apparently be similar to the basic Nuzlocke rule of hey, if it faints, it's dead and you got to release it type thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
It's the case in point of Nintendo seeing a good thing and say, "Hey, we can make money off of this. Let's do it."
Exactly.
If they start
That's how.
seeing that with everything they do, I'm looking at you, people who shut down all the Smash Brothers tournaments everywhere on the planet because you couldn't really monetize it. Come
Yeah,
on.
that's just poor like understanding of their market and understanding of I can make a fuck ton of money off this stuff if I let them do this.
There's a
Because
giant cult following for Smash Brothers Melee still.
oh
Speaking
yeah.
of cults, have you ever heard of
Uh-oh.
Chef Kawasaki?
Oh
No.
no, we're there.
No. No, the horny on main must cease.
Oh, it's
I was
gonna.
just getting started.
All right, well,
God.
hold on to your pants. So,
Or panties, depending on who you are and what you're into.
so before we even actually start this, anybody take a look and see what Kabuta was, or how it's played, or what it is?
I know
No.
it was a Pokemon.
Well, so Kabuta.
Lemmy.exe
I
has
don't-
stopped responding.
No, I was in Kirby Land, and that train wrecked my brain.
Choo choo.
Oh no.
Okay, so Kabuta is a game. Think of it kind of like a mix between Cards Against Humanity and Match 2. So there's a set of like about 100 cards, and there's different variations on it. I'm going to give you the one that I read on it that makes the most sense. There's about 100 cards split between all the players, and there is a prompt deck that is turned over, and whoever turns it over has to read the prompt, and as they're reading it, the player reading it and the other players have to find the corresponding ending to it.
Oh no!
So it's matching the first half of a poem to the second half of the poem. If the person reading, whoever finds the second half, actually gets the prompt card, and that's what that is. So that's how that's played, and why that's important is because it's important in Japanese culture. It's been around for centuries, right? This Japanese fellow created and kind of went down the road here, created a Kabuta deck with Chef Kawasaki and a micro bikini.
Oh.
So
God.
a lot of artwork with Chef Kawasaki and a micro bikini. And I'm not going to show anything on this particular podcast of what that is. You can go look it up yourself. It kind of makes me vomit in my mouth a little bit.
I saw somebody in the Discord earlier, and I was like, "Oh."
It came with the article. So it exists. And I think it's interesting playing that way. And what happened was he put up the deck, both physical and digital, about it was about what, $8 US, $2 for the digital. And after a few days, HAL Laboratories came a knocking. Yo, hey, cut it out. That's not cool. And he pulled it from the shop that he was selling it at, and issued an apology to HAL Laboratories for any inconvenience, which was interesting. But the big argument here is why HAL Laboratories actually had a problem with this, because Chef Kawasaki is already naked and only wearing an apron.
I mean, that's the motif for most Kirby characters, huh? They're really, other than like King DDD, he's the only one that's really clothed.
Well, I mean, put him in the Borat thong. I mean, like, does it really matter? It's the same amount of coverage. Why is that so sickening? It's sort of like,
It's the
why?
illusion, Lumi. It's the illusion of being horny on main.
Indeed. So, but yeah,
And before we get a card deck like that with Bowser.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Bowser in a micro bikini.
Sorry.
Oh, wow, that's an
Sorry.
interesting looking warp pipe.
No.
Why is it
Womp,
curly
womp,
cued?
womp.
Sorry, Mario. Your princess is in another castle, but I'm here.
Well,
God damn, I'm out of here.
all right.
Leaves Discord permanently.
I shoveled that last one in there real quick. So that brings us
Gross.
to the end of all the topics we have to talk about. So let's just hit it around real quick. It's been 3 weeks. Nordic, what are you up to? What's going on? It sounds like you're streaming again. Let's hear about it.
I'm officially back in the streaming saddle. I have had, I want to say 2 solid weeks of streaming now. I'm proud of myself. Currently, I'm on the gauntlet for Nuzlocke, since you're all talking about it today. My goal is to beat all 8 generations via Nuzlocke. It's not going to happen before the new games come out because they come out next month, but I'm going to beat them all. I just want to do it. It's been a challenge of mine I want to do for a while. And in between, when we're taking breaks, I'm doing shiny hunting on stream. My second night streaming, we caught a shiny Regirock
Ooh.
from restarts, and he's my big chocolate boy. I named him Lindor, and he is gorgeous. And
Nice.
if you get a chance to go back on my channel and watch some of the stuff, and I'll make a collaboration later about everything that went down in the first Nuzlocke. Regice does not like being ignored. He was the next one that I was shiny hunting and then took a break to Nuzlocke. And he appeared more and killed more of my Pokemon in the Nuzlocke than any other Pokemon. He does not like me not shiny hunting him, and I'm not a fan. So that's good. That's a thing. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
You can follow me on YouTube, the Nordic Cajun. You can follow me on Twitter, the Nordic Cajun. That's my handle everywhere. The link directly to my YouTube is on my information on Twitter. So come on, hit the subscribe button, hit a thumbs up, and let's go play some Pokemon.
And huzzah for Pokemon abuse. Gotta beat them all.
Gotta beat them all, Pokemon.
Oh no.
Jeez.
All right, Barcode Chicken, what are you guys up to?
Just working, dealing with remnants of hurricane cleanup and preparations for future travel stuff.
Yay.
Wait, who's traveling? Is the barcode going south or are you going north?
Barcode's flying south for the winter.
Hey,
Yep. I'm okay with that.
Not really
flying,
for the winter, but you know what I mean.
flying through the electrical power lines as he goes down and go me.
I am completely okay with going south for the winter because my winters are cold as fuck, is the best way to describe them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it's when it's warmer on the surface of Mars than it is where I live, that is a problem.
That should be a
That
sign.
is a significant issue. And that happens more often than I would like to admit to. Because for whatever reason, I chose to live on the prairies in Canada, and it's goddamn cold.
It's chilly. It's a little nipply. You can cut some glass.
A little bit, yeah. I'm also continually shitposting towards Russian accounts to make them feel, unloved and hated.
Oh, yes, the classic shitposting I me.
As per usual, he's keeping everybody honest on Twitter.
Speaking of,
Of course.
how can they find you too, Crit? How can they find you on Twitter?
Basically, my Twitter name is what I kind of live by now, especially working 2 jobs. Needs espresso.
And the barcode?
I'm on Twitter only. You can find me over at twitter.com/army21. And I will be regularly shitposting against idiot accounts that are trying to spread lies and slander. And it's kind of
Eventually,
fun.
I'll start streaming again soon, but I've just been kind of in a
Cleanup mode.
de-stressing mode from working so much. I don't want to go on and be like, "Hey, guy." Ugh.
Totally get that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, as for the Loomy himself, I'm trying to get back into a streaming schedule, trying to get a good hour in before work, a good silent stream with music going on, and about an hour and a half to 2 hours at night after about 10:30 p.m. when the kiddos go to sleep and the wife leaves me alone.
Yeah.
So
Rude.
Can't relate.
no, I love it when she doesn't leave me alone. That's why I married her, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Way to keep her around, if not.
Other than that, been pounding out some Neo 2 with some fist punch and some axe action. So if you like, I'm going to say feudal Japan with a lot of yokai and a very difficult learning curve with how to play this game, by all means, tune in. It'll be a lot of fun. You can find me here on this channel and everybody's contact details in the in either the description on YouTube or the About section here on Twitch. And get in touch. Let us know what you think. Let us hear your opinions.
Yee.
I
Opinions
still
are
do
fun.
want to play Worms with you guys. I think
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun when we get that pulled together, man.
Worms, Cards Against Humanity, anything fun like that. Heck, even if we did was it Played Up or Plated? I forgot the name of that one. Where all 4 of us try to cooperate and own a restaurant. That would be kind of cool too. So, a lot of options. There's also Space Dwarves and
GTFO.
we do have GTFO and
It is spooky season.
Just so you know, there's a certain bomb and redeemer that now has a copy of Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So that is all kinds of stupidity waiting to happen.
Oh, it'll be glorious. In between
Yay.
playing Space Engineers and Minecraft, which, by the way, Shizzy's in chat. Go give him a look. I don't know if he's streaming right now. Is he streaming right now? I've never actually raided. That would be kind of cool.
I don't think he is live. No, he just ended.
He just ended.
Lame.
He was supposed to start at 11:30.
Oh, but I just remembered something. Remembered something. I recently commissioned some new emotes for Crit Chicken,
Ooh.
and I will spam them in chat.
Was that? Oh,
They-
yeah.
Yeah, they're absolutely fun. I love them. The artist, Warbringer Jalen, did an amazing job doing them. I will be commissioning him, of course, numerous times in the future to make more art for her because holy shit, these are amazing little chickens. Crit
That's
chickens.
adorable.
Yes, the boom chickens are amazing. I love them.
You have to give me that information because I'm gonna need some stuff soon. My all Nord is nice, but he's dated. It's time for some upgrades.
I'm glad that they actually finally went through with my crying chicken and my dead chicken, because I think
Yes.
they didn't like the idea of Sag and Rip being a thing.
They get over themselves. They got enough issues going on right now to worry about something like that.
There you go. I put his info in chat. So it's twitter.com/WBJalen, Jalen. Go check him out. He's a great guy, super wholesome, does amazing work. The large version of these emotes that he drew are really amazing. And I'll be spamming them in Crit Chicken's Discord here as soon as I get them uploaded as stickers.
I already hit the follow button because he has the 4 picture of the Pope with holding his icon. I'm
Absolutely.
I'm sold.
Yeah, Jalen, I've known him since we used to play WoW together. He's such a wholesome, nice guy. I highly recommend you get him to. What the fuck am I seeing on Twitter? I highly recommend you get him to do some work for you for commissions. I am seeing someone's bumper sticker that says "Come CUM," and yeah.
Lumi, they're horny on Maine. Get the spray.
That's their last name. Don't I feel bad. At least they didn't name them Richard Cum.
No, it was literally just a bumper sticker on someone's car from Arkansas that says CUM.
Well, speaking of come back next week for another episode of UDP Broadcast where we will be where the glory this train will be on fire and derailed and coming at you.
It'll be horny on Maine again.
With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.